Hi guys, welcome to the Coffee Break Interview video podcast. I'm Dr. Nathan Ho and I'm your host today. Today I'm super excited to be able to invite Coach Heidi Mount to be on this video podcast. Heidi is a well-known international virtual dental coach and she has helped so many dentists become successful over the years. Heidi, I'm super excited and honored to have you on this video podcast. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're so welcome. This will be fun.
How are you today?
I'm doing fabulous. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I'm off today, so I'm excited to be on this podcast with you.
Thanks.
So Heidi, can you take a couple minutes to tell us about yourself and your journey in dentistry?
Oh, wow. Supposedly, when I was 3 years old, the dentist I was going to wrote on the chart that he asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, a dentist. And then when I was 18, I went back to the office and he said, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you going to plan on doing? And I said, I'm going to be a dentist. And he showed me in my chart. And I didn't remember telling him that at 3 years old. So I guess dentistry has always been my passion. I've always been fascinated with healthcare and the mouth. And I went to the same dentist and they were so nice. And I don't know, I just had a passion for it. So I started off dental assisting in 1989, licensed in 2 states. And my first dental office was a front deskless office. That was popular in the 80s. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, and back in the 80s, I don't think dentists wear gloves either, right?
No, we didn't. I did because it just started, but the dentist didn't. Gross, huh?
So how did you get into becoming an international virtual dental coach?
Well, I graduated up to an office manager and realized that I was building relationships with other offices. And next thing I knew, dentists and office managers were contacting me to help them. And so I'd come to the office and I'd help, or they would be having a team meeting and wanted extra set of eyes or ears and wanted my opinion on what I would do in that situation. And so I felt like I was constantly helping other offices. Mm-hmm. And then my father passed away. And when that happened, he worked really, really hard. Both of our families worked really hard to provide for the family. And he worked so hard that I believe he retired and then passed away because of the stress of working so hard. So that put a passion in me to help dentists be unstressed. I can relieve some weight off their shoulder when they can call me and prioritize, help them with the decision making and relieve some weight off their shoulders. So I thought, boy, there's lots of in-office consultants all over. It can be costly to pay for the travel and the daily rate that I thought, with all this technology, I could help more dentists all over the world through the computer. I could tell them the same things I would be telling them in the office. So I've designed my business to help more dentists over the computer. So I can go to different islands and things like that too.
What a great idea. So speaking of stress, during your coaching career, what are some common problems that you've seen over the years from a lot of dental practices?
Boy, there's one thing in dentistry that doesn't change, and that's the people. So in general, most doctors are calling me because they're plateaued or frustrated or, not making enough money. But what I find is it doesn't matter if you've been in business 1 year or 20 years, they're typically the same problem if you haven't had the systems in place to make things efficient, have a better focus and things like that. But, in general, people aren't pre-planning their day. They don't have a focus. Employees are having their email pop up left and right, and people are just floundering and distracted. And so, they're not getting that case acceptance. They can't get patients to schedule. The patients are making up, I can't afford that, or how much does it cost, or I'll wait till my insurance covers it. It's kind of the same thing, but a lot of it has to do with not hiring the right employees, not training the employees, and people are inconsistent. So, obviously the doctors need to invest in training the team. Staff turnover is always an issue if you're not a good leader or you don't hire the right people, that type of thing. So a lot of it's getting the left hand to talk to the right.
That's awesome. What about the successful practices? I'm sure you worked in so many successful practices, and you help many successful practice owners become successful. So what makes these practices different from the average ones?
Successful practices have a clear focus, and they have employees that treat the business like their own. So people aren't doing that floundering bit, and they're not running in all different directions. And they treat the business like their own. They watch the budget, they want to build the practice, they want to market the practice, they're excited. But mainly, you live by your mission statement, or the vision for the practice makes your decision. Does that make sense? When you have a clear vision, you're like, should I, I want to work 5 days or 4 days a week, or I want to have 5 weeks vacation off. Then you don't let the front desk say, well, you're not going anywhere this week. You just said you're working around the house. So can't you come in and do that root canal? It's like that mission and that vision make that decision for you, so you don't even have to think about it or have that stress or that pressure. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So we know that every successful practice has a great team or even an ideal team. So can you paint us a picture or tell us what a great team is like?
Oh boy, I harp on this pretty hard. Obviously your team has to have clear expectations and a clear job description and be able to accomplish that. But you got to help them accomplish it. But an ideal team to me would be that they're excited to come to work. They let you know the successes they had for the day. They bring energy to the practice. They think, how can we get this done versus that's not going to work, or my last doctor did it like this, and so I'm used to that and I'm going to do it that way, right? That's what a lot of employees get irritated with, when other people are like, well, Dr. So-and-so did it this way, and you feel like going, we don't care. This is this office, right? But they want to grow the practice as much as the dentist. What I hear a lot is employees just bringing up excuses on why they can't get things done. So I hear that a lot. But the doctor will tell me, well, they have their reasons of why it didn't get done. So we kind of have to follow through. We have to make sure we're following through. But anyway, back to the ideal team. They treat your patients like their best friend. They're excited to see them. They recommend ideal treatment. They show them how to achieve it, and they want to be a part of it, that type of thing. In my office, when I was managing, it was like, I told the team, like, we need to be so good that our patients want to work here. And that was our goal. And pretty soon, patients that were accountants and different things, it's like, what can I do to get a job here? Because we were all so appreciative and we were such good friends, and we treated each other better than the employees. And they saw that we lit up and were like, thanks for helping me clean that room so I could get on to help, Mrs. Jones or whatever. And so I think just having that fun vibe in the office really helps. You always have one person kind of suck the life out of you, right? There's that one person in the office, not always if you have the right team, but usually in office when they're calling me, they have that one person that is like 80% of the problems are due to that person, or they just suck the life out of you or the energy out of the office, because they're just bah humbug and, complaining, and it's just not fun to work with.
Yeah. So speaking of creating an ideal team and having that team to serve the patients and to help the office grow, what are some ideas to bring to the office to create that excitement, to create that passion for the team, so they can go to work happy?
Yeah. I think a lot of times, having out of the office events help. A lot of team building that's fun. Letting them, like here in Portland, we have, it's called an escape room. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've never been there, but I heard of it.
Yeah, so people come together in a room and they're locked in, and there's different versions. So one could be, you've been kidnapped. Another one could be you're in a whatever spaceship and you got to get out. But they give you clues and keys of how to get it out, and everybody's got to communicate, right? You're got to put your brains together, and then you have that success of getting out of the room. You got to escape the room within an hour. And then you wear a sign, I escaped, or I ran out of time or something like that. But I know a lot of offices love doing that.
Yeah.
But you can go on YouTube and look at minute to win it games,
Yeah.
and then film it, like stick it on your social media and everything. And people are like, look how much fun they have. They're such real people. They're so kind, and the doctors believe in having fun together. I just think it's really important to do those things. Some staff, my greatest memories were when the boss took us out, whether they gave us money in a limo or took us to dinner, and we all picked out a perfume, or, the fun times were when you were bonding together at a resort or in a spa, or, getting your nails done, anything that's really fun. Even we had times where we were on a budget and we did potluck at the doctor's house, and we would like catch M&Ms with our mouth. I mean, we just had fun together. And I think when you go back to work, you've bonded during that time. So when you're at work, you're more respectful towards each other.
Yes, I love those ideas because it's all about creating that experience, right? Because sometimes dentists, we just try to give monetary bonus, and that's it. So over time, the team just expect a bonus and not having any time bonding with other team members or having that experience to talk about, right?
I see that a lot. Like, I'll see a lot of doctors post that. I just give a Ben Franklin, or I just give this or that. And I think it's great. Everybody, appreciates money. But what I tell you is that the ones that are struggling with that vibe are the ones that really are frustrated and not happy at work. It is not the money. Yeah. They will leave another job to find a better atmosphere and a fun office than get another $100 or $100. So most people would appreciate a house cleaner, or their car washed, or a massage, or something specific. Like, they work really hard for something, or they've always wanted little chicks on their little farm. You get them some baby chicks, get to know your staff. There's so many doctors, they don't know their staff. They don't know what they like or anything. I remember even telling my bosses, so-and-so is going to have surgery. They are, and I'm like, how do you not know this? It's like, have lunch with your staff once in a while. Ask how your family's doing, and really bond with your staff so they know they care. And, I realize you don't want to be their best friend. You want to be their boss. I get all that, but you got to know some basic things. When's their birthday, and treat them like they're special, because they don't want to just be a number,
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because the most common questions that I see on Facebook a lot is, what kind of bonus do you give to your team members, or what bonus system works? But I rarely see any questions about what kind of events should we host for a team, or what kind of experience can we create for a team, right? So I'm glad you mentioned that. So if you were to speak to a group of new practice owners, what advice would you give them so they can be successful without having to make too many mistakes along the way?
Have a clear vision and let that decide, let that vision make the decisions for you. So if you're a new practice, you really want to decide, what type of employees do you want? Because otherwise, if you say, I want nice, positive employees, and then someone is calling somebody a name, saying you're lazy, or I'm not going to help you, or whatever, something needs to give. Like, those two have to work it out, or one of them needs to go, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's your favorite employee, but you say, look, you're disrespecting me by hiring that person. I've hired that person, and you're disrespecting me by treating that person bad. So I think just making sure you just stand your ground and show them you mean business, and that you take this vision and this plan for your future really serious. But also making sure to include your team. Like you said, with the bonuses, A lot of times doctors will tell the team, I'm broke, but what they see is you're going to Disneyland. You just bought a new car and all this bit. And I get it's none of their business, but they do see that. Even when it comes down to, you just raise the fees. Aren't we part of the bills? If you just raise the fees, why would we not get a raise? So don't think that staff doesn't see that, because I've worked a lot of years and I hear what goes on. So you've got to somehow include them in these type of decisions and show them they're a part of the success of the practice. So even like when you brought up bonuses, we make it so difficult. So here's an easy bonus, since I've seen that question on your group.
Yeah.
You set up a certain collection, obviously. So, well, a lot of people give out, production or collection numbers, but they don't think about how they get them. So that has to be thought out. Okay. You can't just randomly go, I want to make $5,000 a day. So you've got to figure that out, and we can help you with that. But for a bonus, you can set a collection number that's consistent. So whether it's pick your 3 highest months that were 3 months in a row, that could be one way, but take the number that you want to make. So let's say you want to make $100,000 a month, okay, or $50,000 a month, whatever it is. So whatever that number is, whatever they go over, split amongst your employees 20%. So they get 20% of your profit. Now, how that's divvied out could be another conversation, right? Because you have hygienists and people that work different hours and what have you. That's easy to do also. But when it comes to a bonus, just tell them what you want to make, go over the success and share it with them. I mean, how happy would your staff be if you made $100,000 extra in 1 year and you split 20 grand between all of them?
Oh, that would be super happy.
And it's a win-win-win, right?
That's right. Win-win-win. I like that.
Win-win-win. It's good for the patients. It's good for the employee, and it's good for the doctor, because we want to let the patients say yes to the best care and the most ideal treatment. We have to give them that opportunity, and too many people are going, oh, insurance doesn't cover it, so I'm not going to offer it. And that's not fair to the patient. I can tell you it's not fair, because I've been to many places that no one offered me anything. I was getting allergy shots, and they had an audiologist in there, and I saw like an audiologist on the door, but I thought, I can hear fine. Why would I need anything about that? However, my husband snored. Dale, you know him. Yeah. So he has sleep apnea, and it always woke me up. He sounds like a, airplane going over me, and there's a decibel. So they sold earplugs that cost $150. They stick alginate or something in your ear. They take an impression of your ear, and they make these little earplugs. So I go there. Well, first my friend said she got it. So I called the audiologist, and I was like, hey, do you guys make these earplugs for snoring? They're like, oh yeah, we have tons. When I get there, they open this brochure of like 15 different type of earplugs, even for dentists. They have the high-pitched drill where hygienists or dentists would just wear it in their right ear to protect their hearing. And I'm thinking, I've been coming here 20 years for allergy shots or whatever, get some Claritin refills and stuff. No one ever said, hey, do you mow the lawn? Do you go to rock concerts? Do you whatever? We have these earplugs. We want to protect your ears. Not one person. So 20 years later, I'm spending $150 or so on these custom-made earplugs to wear at night. And I can wear them on the airplane, and they're wonderful. But no one ever offered, right? So if I was going there and sitting there waiting, because I get a shot, you wait 15 minutes, make sure you didn't have an anaphylactic, right? They could have been talking to me about, say, hey, we have this. Do you have any need for this? We're just letting you know they're here. That is not salesy or manipulating people to buy things. We're actually solving a problem. Just like when you go to the Apple store, you get a phone. They're like, do you want a case?
Yeah.
So we've got to think of dentistry that way. We've got to offer them the best of everything to let them make that choice.
That's right.
And I think you would make more money, and then you'd be able to pay people, well, and they'd be happy and stay.
That's right.
Right?
But some offices, they don't have a system in place or a great team in place to grow the business. So, and I've seen so many dentists, even though they've been in business for a long time, but they're still struggling. So in your opinion, at what point should practice owners hire a coach? Because some of them just struggle too long and they expect to be different this year or next year.
Right. Well, I think about it like this. Do you want to put a Band-Aid over the cut, or do you want to prevent the cut?
Yeah.
So, I realize that a lot of doctors, I can't afford a coach, or how are we going to pay for that, or whatever. But in the meantime, they have openings in their schedule. They've got staff turnover, and that costs a lot to train and replace.
Yes.
So in my opinion, if you are overwhelmed, you don't know where to begin, you have a lot on your mind, a lot on your plate, and staff that need to be trained, it just depends what you need, right? But get the help you need. Sometimes, you might need a coach that's going to help you with mindset. You might need a coach that's going to help you with finances. So get the coach that works for you. Most doctors nowadays have multiple coaches, just to tell you the truth. Yeah. There's different, niches and in the coaching. I teach how to make money, but obviously you're not going to make money if you don't have the right attitude and the right staff. So you've got to have a willingness to want to learn. And when the student's ready, the teacher's here.
Awesome. Right? I like that. So the next question is is one of my favorite questions that I ask every person that I interview. And that is, what makes you happy in life?
Yeah, let's see. For me personally, when I am in warm tropical weather, listening to the ocean, or specifically in the water helps, because you're not on vacation until you're laying in the water to me. But I just feel like a sunset is something to totally cherish. Some people didn't wake up, and I just think they're so magical. I love how, especially the Caribbean, I know when I go to like St. Croix and stuff, everything stops. Like if you're at a restaurant, the servers don't even come to you. They're like, everybody watch the sunset, because not everybody gets to see one. And there's just this respect for the beach, or I don't know. For me, I just love that. I just love watching it go down and disappear. And of course, looking for the green flash. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. So you must love Hawaii and Jamaica and all the places that have beautiful beaches, right?
Any warm island. I probably only been to about 20 or 25, but as far as seeing it and experience what I'm talking about, but yeah, we'll get there.
Great. Awesome. Before we end our podcast, how can our members contact or connect with you?
Well, if they're on Facebook, they can just private message me. I don't mind. And my email is Heidi, Heidi, at Coaching Dentist, plural, because I'm just thinking of you, coachingdentist.com. So Heidi at coachingdentist.com. I have a website, www.coachheidimount.com. Everybody gave me that nickname, so I just roll with it.
When I search you on Google a long time ago, I actually found Heidi Mount, and she's a model, right?
She's a model. That's why I threw the coach before it. I can't compete with her.
Well, Heidi, thank you so much. It's truly been a privilege to have you on this Coffee Break interview video podcast today. And thank you so much for sharing your story and all the great tips. Thank you again. Until next time, take care.
You're so welcome. I love being in your group.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Alrighty, bye-bye.